Hello and welcome, or welcome back if you've been here before. My name is Ian and this series of videos follows me as I take my Royal Enfield Himalayan motorcycle to Bulgaria and back. In this episode I'm exploring the Istrian Peninsula and visiting some towns that I first visited nearly 50 years ago when I was at school. Will I notice much change? Looking at the real-life trace, you can see that the run from Lovran to Poreč was great fun. Slightly disappointingly, although from the trace it looks as if I would have had uninterrupted views of the Aegean Sea, there was usually some obstruction stopping me from actually seeing the sea. Probably just as well, because it was quite a twisty road in places. Now, what's the tale of my visit a long time ago? When I was in the first year of secondary school, as a sweet and innocent 11-year-old, there was an opportunity to go on an organised trip to what was then Yugoslavia. This was organised by STS, or the School Travel Service. We stayed in a resort just outside Poreč, in a big and to me very posh hotel. My recollection of Poreč was that it was a small fishing town, with some very old parts of town, and not many shops, although I do remember that a large lump of our holiday money was spent at an ice cream stall near the basilica. What should I have known, and has it changed? Well, Wikipedia tells me it's a town or city on the west coast of Istrian Peninsula and has a 6th century Euphratean basilica as its major landmark. During the 2nd century BC, a Roman castrum, or fort, was built on a tiny peninsula, which is where the current town centre is. During the reign of Emperor Augustus in the 1st century BC, it became a city. In the 3rd century, there was an organised Christian community and buildings to suit. With the fall of Western Roman Empire, Poreč had a succession of ruling countries: the Ostrogoths, the Byzantine Empire, the Franks, the Republic of Venice. The population was decimated by plague in the 16th century, and after the fall of the Republic of Venice, Poreč came under the control of the Habsburg monarchy. Then the French acquired control before the Habsburgs took it back again, becoming part of the Austrian Empire. In 1918, it became part of the Kingdom of Italy, until Yugoslavia took it over in 1947. It's now part of Croatia. The traditional industries have usually revolved around food, either working the land or the sea. Currently the major industry is tourism, with the Roman remains and the Euphratean Basilica being the two biggest attractions. How did I find it? Busy. Very busy. Lots of shops catering for the tourists, and lots of tourists to cater for the shops. Were my memories of a quiet port correct? I've no idea. But it's now a beautiful place, if a very bustling place. Having seen all I wanted to see in Poreč, it was time to move on to Pula. I'm glad I went back to Poreč. It's still a lovely place, but it isn't the lovely place I remember. There may be many reasons for that. Nearly 50 years would be one. Visiting in June at a weekend rather than during the Easter holidays from school would be another. But all that being said, it is a rather lovely place. I'm afraid that I took the main road from Poreč. This was due to the invaginated nature of the coast and the fact that the main road is the shortest and most obvious route. Any other route would have been a big detour to get round. Why I did it, I suppose, is immaterial. I did, and because of that, there isn't any video. Sorry. What is there to say about Pula? It's bigger than Poreč, 52,000 in residents as opposed to 12,000-ish. It has more history. In the Roman Civil War of 42 BC, the town chose the wrong side and sided with Brutus and Cassius, who slew Julius Caesar. This was because it was Cassius's brother who'd founded the town. When Octavius, Mark Antony and Lepidus were victorious, Pula's reward was that the town was demolished. Obviously it was rebuilt. The amphitheatre was constructed between 27 BC and 68 AD, and the rebuilt town benefited from a water and sewerage system and 10 gates. It was also the site of the execution of 2 reigning Caesars, Crispus in 326 AD, as Constantius Gallus in 354 AD. Pula pretty much followed Poreč with the number and variety of overlords following the fall of the Western Roman Empire. Although during the period when the Venetians were in power, it was conquered by the Pisans. That was in 1192. The Venetians soon reconquered the town, and as a reward, the town was sacked by the Venetians in 1243. Following the lead of Poreč, Pula was part of the Habsburg Empire, and thus became part of the Austrian Empire. Due to its harbour, it became Austria's main naval base. This changed the fading provincial town into an industrial centre. During World War II, the harbour was used as a U-boat base by Germany and other Axis forces, which attracted the attention of the Allied bombers. As a defence against this, a bunker was started under a hill in the centre of town. This was expanded during the Cold War and is now very extensive. When I first visited all those years ago, it was still secret and we were kept away from the area by soldiers. Pula remains an industrial centre with an extensive dockyard, but it also attracts a lot of tourists. It was once the summer residence of one Joseph Broz Tito and hosted many international rulers. The thing that made me smile was the amphora in the museum associated with the amphitheatre. There were dozens of them. In fact, I don't think I've seen as many in one place before. And there were so many because when the good people of Roman Pula had no more use for them, they just lobbed them into the harbour. They ended up in the museum when the harbour needed to be dredged to make way for bigger ships. After Pula, it's time to make my way back to Lovran. Thankfully, the route back was a lot more interesting than the run from Poreč to Pula. Hence, there is video, and I hope you enjoy it. It also occurs to me that I didn't show you much of Lovran, so I'll let you look at a few stills of the town. As you will have seen from the video and the stills, the weather had been good on this day. In the evening I wandered out and found a little eatery in a small square in the back streets of the main town. Whilst I had an excellent meal, my choice, lasagna I seem to recall, does highlight a problem with eating on the road. If you're not careful, you end up at eating at places that cater for the tourists. And by that I mean it's very easy to buy burgers, pizzas, lasagna, and any number of other foods that are arguably imported to wherever you are. Finding local dishes does take a lot more effort, and it's sometimes quite difficult. I certainly ate more pizza, for example, than I should have. It's a shame, but from the point of view of the retailers, non-native fast food is easy to sell, and local dishes require more explanation. And for the tourists, knowing what you're about to receive is likely to be one less worry. I will also admit that I did hamper myself, as we went to a number of seaside or harbour-side places which offered a huge variety of fish. I'm sure it would have been excellent, but really, I'm not a fan. Here we are, back in Lovran. You'll note that although there is an excellent walkway alongside the sea that runs pretty much from the end to end of the town, there isn't much in the way of beach. For the bathers and sunbathers, concrete jetties and platforms have been provided, and they seem to be well used. I can't help feeling that the windsurfers and kite surfers, enjoying the onshore breeze, might feel that these were a little unsympathetic and not very user-friendly. Well, that's all I have for you in this episode. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, please give the video a like and consider subscribing, and perhaps even hitting the bell icon so that you're alerted when I make more content. In the next episode, I head for Venice. Thanks again for watching. Bye for now.